Welcome to Groovy Soup,
Groovy.
a showcase of music from artists and bands from across Ohio, and your chance to hear something new and local. Here's your host, Paul Holden.
Welcome to another episode of Groovy Soup, a show all about the artists and bands of Ohio. I'm Paul Holden, your host and chef of this mashup of melodies. Tonight, it's a celebration as we celebrate new releases and continue to bring you local tunes right to your home. Leading things off with a project 10 years in the making, we have new music from Amethystone. This one's called It's Love.
Before the day that you were born, I asked myself 100 times in my
That was It's Love by Amethystone. This local group had big plans to celebrate their new release, but the only thing that could stop it was, well, global pandemic. So instead, they're bringing the celebration online this weekend and bringing the music straight to you. Here's more from Amethystone. Joined by yet another great Ohio group here. We got Amethystone. I knew I was going to trip over it after right before this. I said it and I did it perfectly, I hope. But Amethystone is joining me yet again here. Guys, thank you all so much for joining me.
Hey,
Thank you.
It's nice. I like this whole Zoom thing I've been doing because now I get to see the people I'm talking to, which is a nice thing. It brings me back to when I got to do it in the station. But we had done a Groovy Soup interview a few weeks ago as we were gearing up for the first release from you guys, studio release in 10 years. But obviously, the world is a much different place than what it was a few weeks ago. So before we get into that, let's have you guys reintroduce yourselves. Tell us about the band. Tell us who you are. Let's start there.
Well, I'm Megan Cameron. I sing and play the piano.
I'm Mike Riggins. I play the bass and jump around.
You point at me?
Yeah.
I'm Rob. The Zoom thing is weird. I'm Rob Powell, and I play guitars and sing sometimes.
And I'm Mike Eubanks, and I play the drums.
Everyone's got a really cool background. I like Mike's background on his Zoom thing. I can see the recording studio side and then the supply side. That just looks, it's got the very classic basement feel to it. I like it.
It's got all my empty Jackie O's growlers.
There's no toilet paper over there, none at all.
Yeah.
No.
It's upstairs.
Anyway, so let's start with let's address the elephant in the room first. That's why I kept calling it. I know it's a little cliche, but walk me through the past few weeks for you guys, going from the highs of hooray, because not only were you guys releasing an album, you guys had a really cool event planned at Arts West as well. So just walk me through the timeline. Give me an insight into what's been happening here since everything's been going down.
Well, as you just said, we had a release scheduled for the 21st of March at Arts West, and there was going to be a lot of community involvement with some artists, and we were going to do a celebrity art auction, and BJ Funk, that's right, Brandon?
B-Funk.
B-Funk, BJ. Yeah, B-Funk.
PJ B-Funk? Yeah.
That's why. That's where I got that from, thanks. Anyway, so we had this really cool party, something to just celebrate for us, and then also just to have a party for the community. And I think a week before we started talking about postponing it, and it was a really big decision then, and there was a lot of back and forth, and there wasn't really consensus about not having it, but we finally decided to go ahead and postpone it, which we did for April 28th. And then, of course, just a few days after that, the governor shut pretty much everything down, and we would have had to move it anyway. And now, of course, April 28th isn't going to work either. And someday, who knows when it will be, we will have that big party.
Well, hopefully, it is someday soon. But now that has spread into a new idea from you guys, and you're still celebrating from home, so to speak. Here, still have something brewed up. What was your guys' response to, unfortunately, the double cancellation?
Well, we thought we would try and play all of us together using an app, a platform where you can play in different locations, and that didn't work because we live in the boonies and our web, our internet's not great. The latency was bad. Mike Eubanks had an idea, which I'll let him talk about what we're going to end up doing.
So trying to figure out just what in the heck we were going to do. We don't want to sit on this record. I mean, 2 years of work recording this thing, getting it mixed, getting it mastered, getting it ready to go. I've got it right here in my hand, ready to go. And so what we've kind of decided, and we kind of just finalized this today. Megan and I tested this new app earlier today. We're going to do a live Facebook listening party. So basically on April 18th. So I'm not sure when is this going to air.
It'll be the 13th. So it'll be the 13th that this will be coming out.
Awesome. So Saturday coming up at 7:00. We're going to do a live on Facebook feed listening party. We're going to play a bunch of songs off the album. We've got at least one lyric video that is going to be the first single. We're going to play that on there so everybody can see it, play a bunch of the songs, and we're going to then be on there talking about the record. We're going to take questions. Any fans that want to get on and listen and talk to us while we're doing this thing, I think that's the best way we can get this record out and still, connect with everybody.
Right.
So that seems to be the way we're going to have to do it. I think we're going to do some giveaways, give away some copies of the CDs, some T-shirts, we're just going to have a good time and play a couple of tunes off the record. If all goes well and everything works like it's supposed to, the album that's the same day it's going to drop on Spotify, iTunes, Pandora, all the streaming platforms. So this weekend everybody can listen to the album too. So if all the stars line up, all that stuff will happen on that same day.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, you got to get creative when the world kind of shuts down. And so let's at least dive in. Let's dive into two of the songs, the two songs at least that we talked about playing before here. It's Love and Hold On. Tell me about those two songs. What made you guys want to decide that those were the songs to put on the show tonight, and just give me a little bit of process of creating those two pieces?
You're pointing to me.
Yeah.
Well, we've it's now that all of this happened, it seems really appropriate to first release and share It's Love. I wrote it before mine and Mike, the drum or bass player. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the bass player.
The bass player. Before we had our first kid. So I wrote It's Love before Mike and I had our first kid. And it was really, the song is about the uncertainty of the future that our kids are going to have. And there's just so many unknowns as we move forward because of climate change. And now we have this, which is creating, obviously, we have no idea when we're going to be coming out of this. So the song is just about how love is what is going to give us hope to get through these kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's great. It's a good time to bring it out. I really want to share it right now because I feel people are really looking for things to have inspiration to hold on to that hope, because this is a really difficult situation for a lot of people.
And for sure, I think it's the dancey tune on the record too. It's so it's a good positive song to put out right now.
Yeah,
it's definitely bass driven, so that's really good.
There you go. That's the best part right there. No, I would agree. You got releasing a song that I think it brings a good, not only dance, a little bit of energy, especially for something like a Saturday night. But the idea that it is, with love and togetherness, that any challenge is possible here. But so yeah, tell me a little bit about the second song here. Hold On. Tell me what's the story behind that song.
Well, that song, one of the things when I write music, I don't have a lot of time to write music anymore because I have 2 kids and work and all that. But Mike and the kids were leaving for a few days, and as they were pulling out of the driveway, I was setting up my keyboard and just started playing immediately. And this Hold On, just like I just kind of noodled around with the piano part and just started singing, and that's where the song came from. And it's really about, I've been thinking about what the song is about, is that this one's about a relationship where the 2 people are, they're just not maybe seeing eye to eye anymore. They're kind of growing apart. And it's the idea that sometimes to continue with relationships, well, most of the time, we have to be willing to look through the other person's perspective, or listen to them and try and listen through their perspective. And the song, though, I really love it because it's kind of has a darker edge to it, and it's kind of what's the word? There's a kind of desperation in it. It's like, hold on,
More from Amethystone on the way next here on Groovy Soup.
This is Groovy Soup on Power 105. This is Groovy Soup on Power 105.
Welcome back to Groovy Soup, a show all about the artists and bands of Ohio. We got another tune lined up from the new Amethystone record called Hold On. That was Hold On by Amethystone, and we still have lots to talk about with the group, so back to our conversation. Yeah, no, very, very cool, and I'm excited to catch the full album there as well. We're talking to Amethystone here, getting ready for their first studio release in 10 years. They've had all this good stuff. Unfortunately, they had a cool party planned, but they got a great listening party going on this Saturday. I'm assuming on the band's Facebook page would be the place to go check that out. Probably, I would assume that's the spot to go, so you can check that out on Saturday. So let's go back into it. And I know we talked a little bit about this before, but again, 10 years to get this album together, and put everything else aside. What was it like when you finally did get to have the CD in your hand, Mike? You guys finally were able to see the album is done. You put it together, and by dang it, you're going to release that thing no matter what act of God is going to get in the way. Well,
Megan, you could kind of lay that timeline out. I've only been in the band just over 2 years now. I'm the new guy. So,
And I've been the on again, off again a lot for a long time. It just, the relationship never really dies.
But this is definitely the classic lineup, I would say. This is it right here.
So, some of these songs I wrote quite a while ago, but they've really changed when the drummer Mike and Rob came back and really created kind of a new sound, especially Survivor song. There's even a complete tempo change, not tempo.
Metric modulation.
Yes.
Time signature change.
Time signature change. I mean, it changes the feel of it a great deal, and some of the other songs too. I think they both bring arranging sense and just making the songs really complete. And we took a break for a while because Mike and I had kids and we have jobs, and all four of us have full-time jobs and do other things. So it takes a while to do this. And in 2018, we did a big production with Calliope, Athens Feminist Choir. People called it a rock opera. There was a dance troupe that basically acted out a story. So we've been really busy. And I think the last 2 years we've focused on really honing our skill with these songs and arranging them. And I remember Rob saying, I don't want to rush this process. I want to make something that I really love to listen to. And I mean, some of the time I think we still felt rushed, but because we have jobs and all these other responsibilities, unfortunately. But I don't think our kids aren't an unfortunate.
Well, I definitely think that over the past 2 years, it's been a reinvention of our sound, like totally different than that first album we did 10 years ago. Just when Mike and I have been playing together for like 10 years in different bands, and we just lock in really well. And of course, Rob's he can do just anything on that guitar. So we've spent the last 2 years kind of reinventing our sound, and it's something that represents all four of us for sure.
That's awesome. It's got to feel good when it's an embodiment of all four of you. I mean, that's what the band's putting together the album. It's not just one person putting out the songs there. So, what about for you, Mike and Rob? What about you guys? What was it like to have that album come together finally? And what have you mentioned coming into the band 2 years ago? What have the past 2 years been like for you?
For me, they've been incredible. Like Mike said, we've played in other bands together for a really long time. And when Amethystone was kind of coming out of their slumber for having kids and taking that time off, they needed a drummer. And Megan and I have been friends since college, so we've known each other forever. And Mike and I have been playing together in other bands for nearly a decade. So it was kind of, hey, do you want to come and do this? And came to a practice or two, and I was hooked. When Megan let me help write songs, I was hooked. So I immediately knew that I was supposed to play with with all of these folks, and have had an incredible time. For me, artistically, it's been freaking incredible to be able to contribute to Megan's great songs. And like she said, arranging, and I feel like that's one of the things I'm really good at is, okay, this part here, this here, then here, doing that last final arrangements is something I feel like I'm good at. And so to be able to contribute to her really great songwriting, it just works out really, really well. We make a great team for sure putting this stuff together.
Yeah. So for me too, I've known Megan and Mike for a while. I don't even remember. I don't even know how long it's been. And we've played music as Amethystone in a few incarnations by now. Megan and I also play piano, and I resonate with piano music a lot. But then there's just Megan and I are sort of kindred in a certain kind of way too. And so in this band, with everyone who's here now, there's a certain kind of effortless feeling to it. We can just go with ideas and sounds, and we can all flow with that really well, and that's a really special thing. Mm-hmm. Some musical experiences are more challenging. They can end up being fun, but it just feels like work. This can feel like work, but it's just fun work, right? And so everything clicks really well. Everyone contributes. Everyone's really creative. Personally, I like the role that I get to fill in this band, because I get to react to what else is going on. I get to think about it. I try to fill in a space, it's really interesting because my instrument and Megan's can stomp all over each other if we let them. Mm-hmm. And so there's this kind of dance we have to do to make a part. So it forces me to write parts a certain way. It kind of makes me go to certain places, and it's really satisfying to me to be doing that.
Yeah, and when you have the trust that you guys have with each other as bandmates, you guys can really let your creativity show out and flow, and you can, like you said, even just a sound or just to try an idea. I'm sure it's much easier when you're with a group like this that can not only work well together, but maybe tweak it or be like, oh, that's a great baseline. Like, how do we build off of that? We're talking to Amethystone here. We got a couple of questions here before we'll wind things down. One of my things that you guys have a very long music background, playing in multiple bands, just knowing each other for a long time. I mean, what is it like to just be involved in music for so many years? What about music is the thing that you always want to kind of go back to, or those projects are the ones that you want to go after versus, I don't know, maybe other hobbies or just other things? What is it about music that keeps bringing you back, year after year or day after day?
Man, that's a loaded question.
I've never had a choice.
Same.
I can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
The first time a piano was in front of me, you couldn't pry me away from it. Mm-hmm. So, it just has to be there somewhere, somehow. And especially with a group of people that I connect with so well, it's real easy to come back.
Yeah. And I started writing songs when I was 9. So it's just something that's been it's part of who I am. It's definitely a part of my family. Music, my family has a really strong musical tradition. We took a break for 3 years, I think. And I was so busy with other things that I didn't really realize until we started doing it again, how it feeds a part of me that I just have to have. It helps keep me sane, so to speak, and it helps me stay balanced. It's just important.
My favorite part of music is just playing it live.
Mm-hmm.
I love to get up on the stage and run around and just. I feel like if I have that bass in front of me and I'm on stage, I can be everything that I'm not.
Right.
And I can just let it all hang out, let it all fly, and just have loads of fun and hurt my back and neck.
I can attest to all those things.
A big part for me is, and I realized it coming into this band is I really love the process involved in the creation. So, when Megan comes in, hey, here's a new riff I've got some lyrics. What can we do with this? That's where I get excited. Where can this go? Where can we take this core of an idea? And then, what's Mike's contribution going to be? How can I then build on his contribution? What's Rob going to put on top of that? Oh, then that changes what I'm going to do. That's the part that I really, really love. Is the creation part. I love playing live too, but I really, really like the songwriting part and the creation. Going from just a little tiny idea that Megan has, this little riff that she comes in with, and then we end up with a song. The funny story, at least I think it's funny, the last song on the record, which was actually the last song we recorded, Mike and I literally finalized our parts 20 minutes before we hit record.
Wow.
I mean, we were still writing those, my drum part and his bass part for that song the morning before we said we have to record bass and drums today because we have to get this mixed and get it mastered. We had to already set our release date and worked backwards. Like, here's our deadline. Well, literally the last day, the last recording session that we were going to have, that morning we finalized our parts. And now the funny part is it's one of my favorite songs on the album. I don't know if it was the pressure or what, but we had to finish it, and this was what it was going to be, and it turned out really, really good. So
well, and you sent it to Rob, who had really not played on it much at all with us, and we had no idea what he was going to do, and it came back and it was just
I didn't either.
I think I listened to it like 20 times the first day that you sent it. I just couldn't get enough of it. Not to build it up too much. But.
I mean, you gotta brag. No, go ahead, Rob. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. What I was just going to say about that though is, I really, if I could have my way, I would always just write the parts while we were all playing live together. While we were all writing together. Studio work can be incredibly stressful to me, and I might be known for a little perfectionism from time to time, occasionally. And so I'm a maniac in the studio. These tracks that she's talking about that she likes, I don't know how many of them there are. And there's I added the synthesizer stuff too, right?
Yeah.
What we're talking about.
Yeah, and then my synths and program stuff.
And then your stuff is in there too. But I spent more hours than I want to admit to making that happen. I mean, I spent a lot of time. But on the other hand, that's really fun for me. It's just under time pressure, it gets a little crazy. And I knew they were sitting there wondering, what in the heck was I doing? I'm working on it. No, I really did play guitar for 14 hours yesterday. No, I really did. So anyway, it's just really funny. So then I hear it and I'm like, that doesn't sound like it was that much work. But okay, that's probably good, right? So
yeah.
I mean,
you make it sound effortless, Rob.
I feel like that's what happens so for people on the outside. I think they don't really always get, if you're not a musician yourself, or at least, not understanding or involved with the process at all. I feel like some people might think it is as simple as, hey, you go in there and sing for a little bit and then we'll just do this real quick, and boom, here's a song. It doesn't really work like that. I mean, it doesn't really work like that at all, honestly, unless you're very, very lucky. But it's really cool to hear how much not only you guys like to work together, but it just shows that there's something about music that is it's instinctual. It's something that just is just ingrained in your guys' DNA, which I love hearing about. But we're gonna get ready to wind things down here with Amethystone. But before I ask you my final question, give me the rundown one more time. Where can people go this Saturday? Give me the rundown one more time about the cool thing you guys are doing to check out the new release here coming up soon.
Well, they can go to our Facebook page, Amethystone Music, and that's Amethyst 1, music. I'm sure you can go to our website, amethystone.com, and there's a link there too. And it's Saturday, April 18th at 7 p.m. It'll be live stream conversation with us, and you'll get to hear some of the music that we're talking about for the first time ever. Woo!
So very, very exciting. You're not going to want to miss it on Saturday. We'll make sure that we post some links and stuff too, so people can get, so we get the word out for you guys as well. But the new thing that I've been doing here this new year with Groovy Soup is I've been closing out the show with a new question, and it's a simple one. It's, what is your favorite type of soup?
Beer cheese soup from the pub.
I remember that one from the first conversation we had. I knew that. I was like, I think one of them mentioned beer cheese from the sub.
Oh yeah.
Tomato.
And Rob and I both said the same thing, which is
classic chicken noodle.
Classic chicken noodle. You can't beat it, guys. Thank you so much again for joining me. Best of luck with the listen party going on, and obviously we hope that venues and thing open up as soon as possible so we can celebrate the album in its entirety with all the cool stuff that you guys had planned. But Amethystone, thank you again so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.